want to make a quick video today on emotions and just having the ability to control your emotions. Okay, so I've been reading on this book recently, and it's been talking a lot about how as humans we're so emotional, right? We're so like controlled by emotions. You see all over the place people that you see, like, or you just see in everyday life. I'm pretty sure you could recall multiple times in your life where you had like this almost like burst of like anger, burst of sadness, or burst of joy and happiness. So us as human beings, we're just extremely emotional. We're extremely emotional creatures. That's how God created us. And there are benefits and like almost like pros and cons to each, right? Because it's like if you're super emotional and you just react off how you're feeling at all times, this could almost be like detrimental to you in a sort of way, because there could be times where you maybe don't fully process or think through what you're doing. You're just acting off how you're feeling in the moment, which isn't always correct and isn't always the most thought out process, right? So I would urge you that if you are acting like this, if you are doing this in your life, to try to be more like methodical with how you do things. Try to almost like a chess match, you know what I mean? I love chess because it's so like applicable to everyday life, you know what I mean? And you just have to you have to think things through. Just randomly moving pieces in a chess match is only going to get you so far. It's only going to get you, if you ever played chess at like a higher level, like higher elo, you'll see that if you're just moving pieces left and right without actually thinking through and having a strategy and tactics, you'll find that you won't win too much at the higher level. You won't have as much success. So that's just what I'm trying to urge you to do. And for the pros, let's say, that's just like the cons, right? If you're super emotional, if you're super reactive off everything, a lot of the times you find yourself in bad spots. But there's also pros of being emotional creatures, being like an emotional person. You almost get to like build a better connection with other people, because let's say you're super unreactive and like not emotional towards other people. We're us as human beings are emotional people, and we have to connect off that. If you're super hard set in stone and not being like that, you'll find yourself having a hard time trying to build meaningful and deep connections with other people, because they don't really get to see your sincerity and like actual heart, how you're feeling, right? You need to have a balance, especially as a man. They say as men they're more like logical people, they're more like logical, while women are more like emotional, which I think is true. You could also have a very emotional man, you could also have a very logical woman. It's not just like set in stone, oh, if you're a man you're logical. There's a lot of dumb men, and if you're a woman you're just emotional, because there's a lot of very intelligent women. But you have to have a balance. You have to know where to balance it, and where, not only like when to balance it, but where to balance it as well. Maybe in the work area of your life you might not want to be as emotional as, let's say, your relationship wise area of your life, you know what I mean? I'll just give you an example. You're having a rough day, you go to work, you're just like almost on the edge of like the tipping point, and let's say you lash out at a coworker, you lash out at your boss. Isn't too smart, right? It's more of like an emotional response of just how you're feeling, and definitely could end with some repercussions. Maybe a coworker looking at you like, yeah, I don't mess with this dude. Just I'm not cool with this dude. Or maybe even the boss looking at you like, look, we gotta talk, you know what I mean? Or prevent yourself from moving up the ladder or getting a raise or whatever it might be, right? So definitely I would say that that's definitely something that we all need to work on. Just trying to know when and where to control your emotions, when and where to let your emotions, I'll give another example on how it could be beneficial. Let's say relationally wise, let's say you're out on a first date with a girl, and the date went perfect, everything went good, and then at night you're going to drop her off, and you feel the emotion, everything's feeling good, and then whatever, boom, y'all go and kiss. Just an example. That could be more of a good thing. You know what I mean? From having like emotions filled up in you and stirring emotions in you to react on something. Let's give you another one. Or let's say you're driving your car home, boom, 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 and say you just see a homeless man on the street, and you get like this feeling of like empathy towards the man, like, oh, I feel bad for him, I want to help him out. You give him $20, something little, just to help him out in this situation. You don't know, we're all humans at the end of the day. We're brought into this world, and we're all gonna leave this world. So if you could help someone else's situation, just something little as $20, or maybe like a meal you buy for the man, it could be great, right? The I don't remember that saying. I was gonna say a saying, but I don't remember it. But yeah, it's just you gotta know when and where to use these things, and it just doesn't come with like, I guess I would say it does come with like time and experience, but I wouldn't just say time and experience is the only thing, because everyday life you see a whole bunch of people that might have a lot of time and experience, like older people, but that just because they're older and just because they have more experience in something doesn't mean that they might be someone to look up upon and like, oh, this is a great role model, this is a great person I should try to be after. There's a lot of older and very foolish, dumb people that everyone knows, you know what I mean? Just because they have more experience or doesn't make them wise, doesn't make them more better than you, greater than you, and whatever you're doing. So yeah, this is where my thought process been at. This is where my mind been at lately. Even in church today, our pastor was talking about emotions, and we touched the subject a little bit on letting emotions have like a control over your life. And I read it also in a book, so I want to give my word on it, give my thought on it as I slowly begin to come up with my own thoughts on different subjects. You don't want to be like a super, oh, I just agree with what this guy agrees with, you know what I mean? I believe what this guy believes. I do what this guy says. I think what this guy thinks. You know what I mean? You want to like formulate your own ideas on topics and subjects, so you're like original. You're like authentic, because we all are unique. We're all like created different. There's no second you. There's no second you in this world ever. You might have a identical twin. You might have a doppelganger across the world. There's no identical you. You have your own thoughts. You have your own agendas. You have your own goals. You have your own physical features and your own internal thinking. So let your creative mind and your creative thought process, like, let it like flourish. Like, let it think about certain, and have like a opinion on certain things. You know what I mean? Don't just follow what your favorite celebrity does, what your favorite whatever athlete says, what your sister says, what your brother says, what your best friend says, what your teacher thinks, what your coworker thinks, whatever it might be, right? Have your own thoughts on things, and you'll find that you won't be so, I don't know, you won't feel so much like a sheep, so much like, oh, I just follow what everyone else says. I feel like I have my own, I thought about this, I put research and time and thinking into this, and now this is my opinion. I could back it up, I could defend it in whatever way I can. All right, that's what I had to say. Okay, yeah, well, I don't know if that's it. I don't know if I have anything else thinking about talking on the topic of emotions. Maybe as I continue to move along this journey, maybe I'll touch upon this subject again in the future when I have more information about it. But this is what I'm thinking about right now. I also just recently bought a book on, you might know, the author's name is Robert Greene. It's called The Laws of Human Nature. And as of recent, I've had a strange like fascination with human nature and almost like psychology almost. So yeah, we're gonna see where that goes. Maybe I'll touch upon the subject again after I finish reading the book, and I'll have more of a broad knowledge of what I'm talking about. Right now it's just like brushing upon like the surface of everything that I might know and my life experience being very young. So but yeah, this is what I gotta say. Don't let those emotions control you. You know, take control of your life. Take action today. Start striving towards a little 1% better every day, incrementally improving. And yeah, Jesus loves you. I love you. Peace out.